Good day and welcome to a new video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hello and welcome today. Today you're joined by me, Daniel, and we're going to be drawing spiky creatures. So you delve along with me. Today we are drawing these lovely creatures. So, I've started off doing a little bit of study. So before I started the stream, I did some quick rough sketches. They are just little sketches of the creatures just to understand the type of creatures there are for spiky creatures. I found some really interesting ones. I found an armored rat, which is really odd because, it's like this furry rat-like creature with spikes on it. There's not a lot of information. There's Wikipedia and a few images. There's just not a lot of images out there. So it's a tough thing. But it's interesting. There are some interesting creatures. I start off doing something a little bit furry here. Drawing furry kind of creature here. Now this is kind of not sped up video. Yeah, so this is not a sped up video. This is actual time in a way, so it's a little bit slower than kind of some of my other stuff. With my other videos, they are sped up quite a bit. It's up to 4 times faster than usual, or 2 times faster than usual. I was last night trying to get it to work with Photoshop was playing up, so I couldn't do it fully live, like drawing live as I was talking at the same time. And that's kind of good and bad. It's good that I've got it recorded and then I've talked over it, because I talk a little bit more than I would if I'm drawing at the same time. It's a little bit of a struggle when I am kind of talking and creating at the same time, because they clash and one of them's gonna lack, or either the talking's gonna lack and I'm not gonna talk too much, or the drawing's gonna lack and I'm not gonna draw as much, or get as much achieved. So it's kind of good in that aspect that I've got a lot more drawing kind of done in that 45 minutes than I would have done if I kept on going talking and creating at the same time. I think I got a little bit further than I would have if I had a full stream. Because I tried about 2 or 3 times and that Photoshop just was not having it. I have looked at solutions for Photoshop, what it could be. I have tried the newest version of Photoshop. I have tried to also, fix up preferences and things like that. Fix up all the preferences that there are with the Photoshop brush, with the actual Photoshop itself. Set the everything back to normal preferences. And yeah, I just tried that all, and here, I said drawing like a furry-like creature that I'm drawing. I'm just kind of playing around, maybe giving him some like ears and more spikes, trying something a bit different. I'm kind of using the reference, as you can see on the right hand corner. As I do, just use a reference and take that reference, or draw some of the reference if I need to, and do just a little character. And this is a quick sketch. So I don't expect anything to be proportionally right or anything like that. I'm just kind of playing around with the idea. A bit of fun, you know. I recommend, you know, for me, because I've been drawing hedgehogs for the last year or two. I've been drawing just animals for the last year as well, and studying them, and getting good at drawing different kind of animals, and creating weekly tips and videos, live streams like these ones where I draw while I talk kind of a thing. So I've done a lot of animal drawing over the last, you know, well, ever since I kind of started drawing. Know a lot about animals, but if you're new to kind of animals and creatures, I do recommend with each one of these, each like creature you create, um, do draw like a decent chunk of different animals, different animals based around what you want to draw. So, for instance, if you want to do a dog-like creature, a cat-like creature, a spiky creature, you spend an hour, 2 hours drawing just that kind of creature. So if you want to do dogs, draw heaps of dogs, and then from there, you know, gather everything you know about dogs, what you know about drawing dogs, and then do um, your own style of dog. You know, that's what I've done here. I've gotten used to what like spiky creatures could be. Gotten the reference. I have then duplicated. You know, here I've done a quick sketch. I've duplicated the actual image, which is really easy to do. You just right click duplicate a layer, which is down there on the bottom right hand side. Down there in the layers panel, you can right click duplicate a layer. It's easy enough to do. If you have Photoshop, you should know how to do it. There, I drop down the opacity, and that's usually the way I work with any kind of drawing and painting. Is that, you know, I have an initial sketch I do, whether it's a actual physical sketch or it's a digital sketch. I have a physical sketch that I do. Then I may go over it like I'm doing now and fix up any issues that I'm having with it. Um, and you know, if that doesn't turn out any better than it is, then I start from scratch again. I draw it again, see if I can get it better. And then, you know, if that's still having issues, I kind of lower it down even more. Usually, you lower the opacity even more, so I can only just see the outline. I can see it kind of helps me for it only helps me for like proportional size, like the size of its head and the size of its body, those kind of things. It's only helping in those aspects, but for the rest of the design, um, I can't see those aspects, so it's more loose for me. That's what I kind of do. So here, I'm just going over it and fixing up any issues I think the design has, flaws of proportional sizes and things like that. It's similar to the sketch, so it's not going to fix it up that much, you know. Just going over here, going over some of the drawings. As I said, this is real time, so I may, you know, have a bit of a breather. Maybe I'm talking or something in these streams, while I'm drawing, or just thinking about what I'm doing. Yeah, making it a bit more fluffier to put those spikes in different um places, you know. yeah, putting those spikes in different places and things, you know, picking those up. Yeah, so awesome. Um, Thanks for coming in. If you came in, whether you know you watched the actual stream on YouTube, um, or you watched it on Twitch, YouTube or Twitch. You know, I do my streams on Twitch and then export them to YouTube. It is for me easier that way because I can straight out export to YouTube, do the last edits on YouTube, and it's all up there ready to go with all its details and everything. The other way I can do it is kind of record it. Like I always backup record it, so I've got it backed up now. If anything goes wrong with the stream, if it takes too long to get onto YouTube, anything goes wrong, I can use that and edit it on my editing software. And which I use Hitfilm, which is really cool. I think they're up to Hitfilm 15. It's really cool software if you like editing videos and you know doing YouTube. It's great to use. It's free. You can pay for it if you want. You get certain features if you pay for it. But for a free standard version, it is really good. To use, easy to use for me. It did when I started using it. It did probably take a week or two to use, but all programs kind of do. I've just kind of picked up Blender again, just for the fun of it. I was like, well, I'm gaming quite a bit here, and you know, I'm thinking it's a little bit, you know, becoming kind of an issue. The gaming too much. I'm not painting enough or creating stuff enough, you know. And I think it's because I'm kind of getting a little bit bored of just, you know, just finishing off a piece so much. Um, and I don't really want to draw all the time, you know, all the time. So, I really enjoy drawing and um, you know, all the time I can draw and creating stuff. I really do enjoy it, so it's good in that aspect. But you know, it is, I guess, a little bit. Um, it can get a bit like drawing all the time. You know, doing too much of the same thing all the time. Yeah, you know, it can get a little bit boring, you know, especially like if you're painting the same thing over and over again, or drawing the same thing over and over again for like 2 or 3 weeks or something, you know, it does get a little bit kind of boring sometimes, but it's okay, you know, you enjoy it though. It's just yeah, you know, you're doing the same thing over and over again. It can start to feel a little bit repetitive. So yeah, you know, doing a 3D program, I was like, you know, I used Blender in the past, and it was like, well, you know, might download it, give it a shot. And I have, and you know, I did probably 20-30 minutes so far on it and created an interesting dragon from it. Um, what you can see me creating now, you know, an interesting like dragon, kind of a thing. So I'm going for a more kind of dragon focused, spiky creature, kind of like a thorny devil, but something a little bit interesting. Could have elements of dogs here, and things like that. Now, you know, if I was going to take this idea further, um, you know, um, I would possibly, you know, look up dogs and, you know, because this interesting creature that I've drawn, that fluffy creature there, looks a bit kind of like I think it's terrier, a British terrier or something like that, a British terrier dog. So, you know, I could then go look at British Terrier dogs and kind of reference that a little bit more. But you know, now I've started again. I've said no. I've done enough on that idea. It's not getting anywhere. It's not getting any better. Um, let's start again, and that's what I do. I start again on something different, a different kind of aspect. Um, you know, and still going for kind of fluffy. It looks a little bit more like a kind of a wolf kind of a dog here. Um, so you know, going for something a bit different. I learn, you know, there's two kind of spiky creatures here. There's the hard surface spiky creatures like your bearded dragons and thorny devils, spiders, you know, spiky spiders, your pufferfish. Those are the hard surfaced kind of spiky creatures. Um, and obviously they have it for different reasons, you know, with the um, kind of obviously it is, you know, most of them is pretty similar though, is don't attack me, I've got spikes, you know, that's the kind of feeling you want to get from these creatures. Um, because that's what they do. They don't look at me. I have these rough spikes that you won't get past. You know, they curl up in balls, and um, they are a defensive mechanism for them, and that's what they use. Some of them have different aspects. I think, like for instance, the desert um, spiked dragon thing. What's his name? Thorny lizard. Um, I think it uses it for water. I can't fully remember, but I remember a documentary that talked a little bit about them and their spikes. So they do have a little bit more aspect sometimes of, but usually, you know, a defensive mechanism is why they have spikes. So you know they need to have those, and you know, enjoying furry creatures to begin with. You know, Photoshop's playing up here, and I'm like really getting frustrated with it. Um, and yeah, you know, it's always interesting having these digital problems. You don't get that as much with traditional. Um, you know, you don't always strike these problems. What's happening with my PC? Um, you know, Photoshop crashing. You can't have your paper crash. You can have obviously physical things like maybe your coffee might spill on your painting and those kind of things, but other than those things, you can't have too many issues with physically doing things as you can digitally. You know, Photoshop playing up and um, doing odd things every now and again. It doesn't happen all the time, and you can try and solve the problem, and hopefully the problem goes away eventually, or you fix it. Sometimes it's the version you have of Photoshop. Sometimes, you know, it needs an update, so you have to wait for the update to come out for it to be fixed, or there's something going on with your computer, your Photoshop setup, or something like that. I had to reset all the preferences last night for Photoshop to try and get this fixed. It did not work. My thoughts now is that actually, like I said before, it could be my disk space was running low last night, so I was like, maybe it's to do with that. My disk space. That it's like it's only got a little bit left, so it might be that it kind of is too low for Photoshop to kind of respond after a certain time. Um, maybe because the temporary file or something is taking up space, and boom, it's stopped working. I had to restart Photoshop to get rid of that. That possibly is my thoughts. Let me know down in the comments if you do know, you know, what's going on. You know, Photoshop is stopped letting me paint, and you know, I have to restart Photoshop to see what I can do. So yeah, I try and figure that out, try to figure out what's going on. It won't let me move stuff at the moment, and I'm like really frustrated with it. I see what's happened with Photoshop 221 is to move something, you actually physically have to have a pixel that you are dragging. So you can it seems like you can no longer, I don't know if it's something to do with the settings in Photoshop at the moment. I haven't looked that far into it. Um, you know, but it seems like you have to have you have to actually touch with the select tool an actual pixel in that layer to move it. That's what I can see is happening at the moment. And try to figure that out. And you need to kind of, with digital work, digital painting, that is the difference between traditional and digital. You know, with digital, things are always updating and changing. The software is changing. And things like that. I suppose with traditional it can be a little bit different, you know, like the pigments in some of the um say the watercolors or something, they might become harder and harder to find, so it gets more and more expensive. So you have to find ways to make that pigment with other pigments, you know. So is that, or the pencil's quality could change for some reason, you know, there's all those things that pop up with traditional as well. Or the paper that you usually use, it's getting harder to get or more expensive to get and you can't really afford it. Yeah. So, you know, there's all these problems, but you gotta really learn to kind of get with the times, I'd say, you know, learn, within any programs that's gonna maybe run into some issues, um, and things, and, you know, you gotta keep up to date with things, just like, you know, with gaming and things like that. If you know, get a computer, you know, sometimes you've got to upgrade because, you know, the games are getting more, um, they want more these days and more, so, you know, you have to kind of upgrade to stay on the games. Unfortunately, you know, it's the same with kind of Photoshop and those things, you know, sometimes they want more. Um, yeah, and, you know, I'm going here for a more kind of thorny dragon, kind of devil kind of a creature just there. So I've done kind of three kind of furry creatures here already, and then I go for a more um dragon-like spiky creature, kind of a thorny devil. And then again I go back to furry. I quite enjoy drawing furry creatures that are cute and interesting. Um, yeah, and I mean, you know, lizard-like creatures, dragons, and all that. Those things are cool as well. You know, um, one of my first drawings, growing up when I was like 15, 16 or something, or 14, want to get good at art, was a chameleon. And then I did lizards and all sorts of things. So, you know, and I like furry creatures the best, I guess, but I enjoy lizard snakes and those things as well. So I'm a bit of both, I guess. Um, I guess I'm more drawn to doing furry creatures a lot these days. Um, yeah, so I go for something a bit more like beaver-like, kind of porcupine, interesting creature, a bit more furry in the end. If you see me drawing this creature, he looks a bit more kind of, yeah, porcupiney, um, kind of badger kind of a thing going on. And I go for that a little bit more and have some fun playing around with that. What I wanted to try at this stage was kind of something in between, kind of hard spiky and furry. I don't know what that'd be like, don't know. There doesn't, I don't know if it exists, if there's something kind of furry. I guess a hedgehog, with a hedgehog, it has, it's really furry creature, but its feet are very hard surfaced. Kind of like the rat as well, it's got the hard surface, the mole, it's got hard surface hands, not so furry feet, hands, and underbelly, aren't as furry. So I guess it's got a bit of those elements to it. Yeah, and trying that a little bit here, doing for a more kind of hard surface tail there. I'm going for, so I'm trying to play around with that, and you know, I mean, this is only a whole video about 40 minutes of me actually drawing. Um, just finding out where I'm going, what I'm creating, um, which is a lot of fun to do, just sitting there and drawing and creating stuff using reference. It's what I really enjoy using. Um, so, I end up drawing it again, trying again with that kind of creature, developing it a little bit more, giving him a bit more kind of style and personality um, with that, and that's what I like doing. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. It depends. It's a hit or miss sometimes. You trial things and it doesn't work. Um, and that's the fun of it. You just have fun. There's no kind of one path fits all, and um, you know, sometimes you end up going back to your first drawing that you did, and that's the best one. But as long as you play around and have fun, you could find something better, but you might end up not finding anything better and go back to the original sketch or one of the original sketches and trialing that. And that ends up happening here. I trial something new, try different kind of trial something new here, do something a little bit more different. It doesn't end up working in a way, it doesn't end up working at all. So I just put it there, scratch that idea, and end up deciding that, I want to go back to the original sketch. Then I completely, do a little sketch here that's completely different, out of whack, I guess. Um, completely the opposite way, I guess. You can do that every now and again. You try something and it doesn't work out the way you want. So you try something completely out of whack. That's completely off the idea. For instance, you have an idea of a beaver-like creature, and then I go for this cow-looking spiky creature. It's completely different. But sometimes you do have to kind of trial this thing and just get it out there and be like, okay, that didn't work. But it might help you in the end, or a way of being like, that shows me what not to do, or something that doesn't, what not to do, or it gives you kind of a view of an angle that might work for your creature, or just trying to figure out what it looks like in front view, kind of a thing, or um, yeah, just gives you some sort of little bit of knowledge that you can use. So, it's kind of, don't knock it till you try it and then knock it, you try something, knock it. If it doesn't work, you can just knock it, and you didn't, like a little thumbnail, you didn't spend that much time. I think I spent like 2 or 3 minutes doing that little sketch you saw before, and it's like, nah, we're not going that way. We're definitely, it was like, well, do I want something a bit more hard surface spiky? And I was like, doing that little sketch, no, I want to develop this furry creature. So yeah, you see me, the second left hand side creature with the spikes, the beaver like, I now am taking further and developing it into a kind of a concept. Now this is my concept stage that I'm going into. It's where, I'm taking the kind of design of it, the side view design, usually with a creature, character, whatever I'm creating. I usually kind of do just a side view of what I want, of what I want the creature to look like. And then I take that kind of side view of what that creature looks like and put it into kind of a three-quarter view, or a something a bit different. End up doing a front view, side view, kind of a thing for it. You can go that way if you want, do a side view, front view, top view of what the creature looks like to fully understand it. But for me, having that side view there and then using that side view to develop something a little bit more interesting, to draw it a little bit better, to see what the creature fully looks like. If I was to take it further, I don't spend all the time in the world on it. It's just, concept, so I do it. Obviously, I take a little bit more care here. Taking a little bit more care of how I'm drawing it. But yeah, I'm not so worried. I can go from here and do a full-fledged painting from here. After doing this kind of concept, I can't do that. So that's the kind of idea at the moment. I don't know if I ever get time to do that. It's just a bit of fun. At the moment of drawing creatures, this is all just kind of fun and learning, and drawing something different, kind of getting out of my comfort zone, I guess, and yeah, and having a bit of fun, because it's always good just to have a little fun, like doing my Blender stuff. It's just to get something different done, so that doing, I guess, what you call my 9 to 5. No, well, it's not my 9 to 5. My kind of main objective of what I'm doing. My children's book that I'm doing at the moment, painting that and fixing that up. That's kind of all the time, so that can be a little bit like doing the same thing over and over and over again. In a way, it's still fun, because I get to do different poses and fix it up and all that, but just doing something different every now and again, like my weekly tips my weekly drawings that I do every week. It's just great and keeps me going, keeps it fresh ideas and fresh drawings that I can do. Yeah, so I end up taking this creature a little bit further and doing a three-quarter view here of what it could look like what could feel like. You know, a side view is good. It really can show, you know, what the creature has, its features, and those things, you know, they're interesting and just simple, yeah, simple view to draw. It makes it understandable. Then you can really take it somewhere else and give it some personality. Doing a simple kind of side view here. This is another quick kind of sketch. Well, it's not too quick, a little bit more careful here. Excuse me, but it's not the final concept. So from here, you know, I block it in. So I block in a lighter tone for the creature to start doing a kind of tonal study of it, just to understand it a little bit better. Not a fully rendered drawing, just a quick concept. That's all I'm wanting from this at the moment, and that's all kind of we're doing in this stream, is creating a final kind of concept, so that, you know, I can take this concept and paint it one day. You know, it's there, you know, I've done it, maybe I can paint it, or it might come in useful one day for something that and something that I create in the future. You know, a story or something that this creature could be supportive of. So it's always good to have fun and have ideas out there so that you can use them. You know, you have this idea that you had in the past, and you could be like, well, you know, I could create something that's similar to this creature for something. You know, this creature could end up in something like, you know, The Mandalorian, or, you know, been watching that lately, but, you know, something like that, you never know. So, you know, doing and having fun with ideas, you can pull out something, and then, you know, it might be that you can end up using that idea that you had and be like, I could use it for this or that, you know. It's not a set in stone idea or something. It's not like this is an actual creature that I've created. I've named it. I've named where it lives, whether it's in the natural world or, you know, out there, and this is a creature from Mars, you know, like, or what universe this comes from, or something like that. You know what it is. You know, you haven't named anything like that, so yeah. At this stage, I'm not thinking about this. I'm just drawing the concept, and, you know, but it's good to have that information too. If you do know about the creature, where it's from, then you can, you know, really delve into a little bit more about him. Like, if he's from Mars, he could have, you know, these giant kind of purple spikes. Maybe he's a night creature. That could be an interesting concept. That he could have like purple kind of glowing spikes. So at night time, he comes out at night time, and all his spikes kind of glow up, and, you know, that creates a light for him so he can see in the dark. He doesn't have eyes to see in the dark, but he comes out at night anyway with his flashing light on his back, and uses that to see at night. So, but then, you know, that could be an up and down moment. That could be good for him because he's, you know, there's not so many predators that will go after him at night because of his spikes that glow in the dark. You know, interesting thoughts here. that you could initially be playing around with. So, you know, there is further studies that you could go into, but for now, you know, we're just creating this spiky porcupine-like creature that's, yeah, kind of like a beaver rat thing. Excuse me. And, you know, if I was to develop further, I think that'd be an interesting idea is, yeah, have its spikes be able to glow at night. So he comes out at night, we can't see in the dark, but his spikes kind of have a glowing thing on the end that lights up. Kind of like a glow bug. Interesting idea. So, you know, having a little bit of a play around, sometimes you can have some fun, but having a little bit of background, a little bit more information about what the creature is, can help to develop it further as well. Yeah, you know, thanks for tuning in. If you did tune in, I really do appreciate it. Whether, you know, it is on Twitch, did I export it to YouTube? Yeah. And yeah, I've just been doing a spiky creature stream, drawing the spiky creature stream. Pretty much kind of creating stuff. I just said it is like a lion with hair. Yeah, you can have fun with it. You can, and that's another interesting concept is, you know, a kind of lion-like creature with spikes. You see that rat-like creature, there that hit the armored rat has spikes there. So, you know, you just gotta find a purpose of why they had spikes. Because with lions, they're obviously big and ferocious. They have big teeth and big claws. They don't really need spikes. Usually it's smaller creatures that have these kind of spikes, but maybe, you know, we've seen in kind of, I think Avatar has something like that where it has these big creatures with spikes in it. So, you know, there's no limits as well. And that's what I just have fun creating. This we don't know the size of this creature at the moment either. You know, so that's another thing you can delve into after you kind of have this initial concept, because that's what it is at the moment. It's initial concept. If I was to take it further, I would then, you know, do a little bit more to it. I can see, you know, some lioness elements in there. And that's what I do now is kind of find the elements that are in there. I see beaver, for me, kind of, borrowing thing. I think it's not a beaver. I can't remember the name, but they like dig underground. So what I would do now is find a reference for that. Is a reference for some of the elements that might be in there that I'm missing in my initial elements, and then, you know, take it further if I need to. For instance, like, you know, I was thinking about this could be a creature that glows in the dark, kind of a creature, with spikes that glow in the dark. So I could take that further, look at, kind of, you know, maybe hedgehog spikes a bit more, or go something completely different. Look at, kind of, I'm thinking of these kind of tubes that have lights at the end. You might see them at Christmas time, this kind of thing. So, you know, I could take it further, have a bit of fun. But for now, this has been me drawing spiky creatures. These are all the drawings that I've done in the stream. About 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kind of initial ideas that I could go with. kind of some of them being developed from them, and then taking that idea and doing a more concept art piece, to take that one day into a painting maybe, or some sort of ideal development for something. You never know. But yeah, that's been me drawing spiky creatures. If you like spiky creatures yourself, let me know down in the comments. If you draw them, if you'd like to know more about them, like to see some weekly tips on some kind of spiky creatures, how to create them, blah blah, all that stuff. Yeah, let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see. Thanks for coming and tuning in. As I keep saying, yeah, and keep drawing, everyone, keep creating, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.